Hi, I'm Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thanks for joining me. Today I've got a process video to show you, and it's based on the Marie Kondo book Spark Joy. So you've probably seen this, come across this. It's big news even though it's been out for quite a while, and it's going to go in my 2019 trends. Now this is my traveler's notebook insert. You'll see a bit more about that in a later video, but for now I just wanted to do a process video for you showing the layout that I'm going to do. It's a nice quick video. I've already got all my supplies to hand because I do have an idea in mind. I want to try and replicate the front of the book. So I'm going to put a circle in the front of this plastic pocket page here, just similar to the circle on the front of the book as best I can. And on this side of the page, I'm just going to do the text as though it was the actual writing on the book. So I'm going to use the Spark Joy, but instead of actually having information about the book, I'm just going to put a few extra quotes regarding that. So I do have some alphas to use for the Spark Joy, but none of them actually are the right colour. So I'm just going to use this dye ink now just to recolour these pink ones. This is from Colour Theory, Brick House. This is my first mistake. With it being a dye ink, it took forever and ever to dry. I ended up having to wipe it off just to speed up the process because even the heat gun couldn't get the amount of dye off. But you can see here, I've just coloured it, left it to one side, and that's the only way I could really get the right colour for this, because not a lot of alphas actually come in lowercase, they're usually capitals, so that's the only set that I had that I could use. But that's fine, it's going to do the job nicely. And as I said, I've got all my items set out ready. That's because the fuse tool I'm going to use takes a good 15 to 20 minutes just to heat up and be ready to go. So I've got my book here. This is the first one of this year, naturally. I've got a piece of card here that I've just flattened in my Big Shot, just so I could use it to make sure that the fuse doesn't put the plastic onto the paper behind it. And I'm just going to use one of these circle dies as a guide for the size of the circle that I want on the front. Now I am torn between these two because I think the smaller size is a better fit in relation to the size on the book cover. But I do want a bigger circle because I want to use up more of that space. I've got all of these nice beautiful sequins that I'm hoping match the colours quite nice of those that I want to put inside and make my own little kind of shaker pocket. So I decided to go with the bigger circle just as a guide for me. So I'm just going to use that die just as an outline so that I can get a black pen now just to transfer the image over. Luckily for me, the book cover's got a messy circle. It doesn't have to be too neat because it is very hard using the fuse tool to get a neat circle anyway. I did contemplate doing this circle as a watercolour, but I did want to make use of that plastic pocket to make a shaker pocket while it was at the front of the book. Now I've skipped over some parts of this mainly because my head got in the way again, but you can see here, just go nice and slowly, and as I said, I'm using this cardboard just as a way of protecting the paper at the back. You've got to press on quite hard. This is a good quality pocket page notebook, so it does tend to need a couple of presses just to make sure that it does fuse the pages together. So I do the back as well as the front to make sure that that does work. And you can see here now as I'm doing the back of that, I've made a few lines overlapping just to try and give me a similar image to that on the book cover where you've got the two colours overlapping. So it looks a bit messy now, but I do like the end effect of this once it's done. You could also stitch this if you don't have a fuse tool, hand stitch or sewing stitch. I think it would be fine. I've done both of those with these pocket page notebooks and it stands up really well. And now I've got a little funnel to try and get these sequins into the little shaker pocket. I do have a heap of trouble with this. I don't even know why I tried this funnel, to be honest. I always have trouble with this with some of these larger sequins. So I should have tried it first really, or even just used it to put the smaller sequins in first and then the bigger ones in last. But needless to say, I do persevere for a little while before giving up on that idea and then trying to use an alternate method. So I've just made my own little confetti mix here of these sequins, 3 different colours that I've got to try and match the colour of the book. And you see it's so much easier just putting it in that way. I should have done that the first time. Now I do just want some of those smaller pieces. I don't feel I've got enough of the green and blue. I've got too much of the teal really. So I'm just trying to pick out those individual pieces now to put in. And I think that's me almost done actually. I really like the effect of that. All that's left to do now is seal up the top with a fuse tool, which obviously doesn't take too long because it's nice and hot by now. And then flip over and do the reverse. And that's my little shaker pocket done. I really like the effect of that, especially at the front of the book. So now to concentrate on the rest of it, I'm just going to use some pencil marks here just so I can see where the top and bottom of that circle lies. And then I'm going to try and mimic some elements of this book cover. So I'm just drawing these lines at the top, but instead of actually talking about the book itself, I'm just putting some quotes here that I actually found on Pinterest when I was looking at some of these images. So I know you probably can't see it from there, but I've got all you need is less. And then another couple of quotes I found, live for joy, and also less is more. And these are going to be good reminders for me because this ties in with my one little word for the year, which is grow. And the sentiments in this book really resonate with me for that purpose as well. I'm trying not to accumulate so much stuff and also do some decluttering as well. Little notes that I'm making at the bottom really are just for myself about the book, because although it was released years ago, Kon Mari has taken off really big in 2019, and that's why it's the first page of my 2019 trends. So I'm just going to collect little quotes and images in here of big things that happened throughout 2019 just as a reminder for the year, because my traveller's notebook is focused on 2019. Okay, so now I've got these, as I've said before, they took an age to dry. I don't think they would ever have finished drying, to be honest. I did end up wiping off the excess with a tissue, and now they're good to go. And I do like that font actually, lowercase. I don't know why I don't have more lowercase fonts in my stash. So this next section I've decided to speed up just because it is quite fiddly and it does take quite a while to get these in place. As always, I forget to start off drawing a straight line because I am absolutely terrible trying to keep a straight line when I'm putting alphas in place. It's one of the reasons that puts me off using them. But I do really like the effect they give. There we go. So that's the first word down. And then the second one now, and it is quite fiddly. I'm trying to get my hand around these new tweezers that I got. These are the ones that keep it in place, so you've got to press to release. And there's my title, nice and done. It's a Spark Joy. So that was a really nice quick process video for you. It didn't take long to do at all. I'm really pleased with the outcome of that. And I hope you enjoyed watching it too, and it's given you some ideas for your own traveller's notebook inserts.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments about this video, please leave them below. I'd love to see them. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That way YouTube knows to recommend similar ones for you. And finally, if you'd like to see more from me, and I hope so, please subscribe by clicking the link below. I post new content every weekend.